She bathed in an albino's blood. But she lost everything and ended up a mad woman on the streets of Kampala. No one could tell how such misfortune penetrated to Mrs. Ramana, though listen carefully to what exactly happened. Ramana grew up in a small village named Kira. She lived with her parents, being their only child. This family lived in poverty, but happy still. Ramana's mother always had hope everything would be fine, and that one day God would remember them, but her father had lost hope, no faith, and honestly tired of all the suffering. Ramana often listened to what her mother bid her to do, and to the path she cleared, being welcoming, always joyful and contented with all she had. Have utmost patience in everything, and appreciate whatever came her way. One Sunday morning, Ramana's parents headed to church, leaving her home alone. As they trekked, both got involved in a fatal motor accident that caused the end of her parents. Ramana became an orphan at the age of 12. This was indeed not what she deserved. This poor girl had no other relatives coming to her intake, so she decided to get side jobs like working in people's farms for money, collecting fruit from the forest to sell in the market, and fetching water from the stream to people's houses for income. This went on for a longer time, and innocent Ramana started getting fed up of the lifestyle she lived, and her mother's words that kept running in her mind started fading away. This was when she clocked 20 years. Ramana decided to leave Kira village and go to Kampala, the city of opportunities. In the city, she swore to do all it took so as to unveil all the untapped victory within her. She got so determined and focused on making money than anything else, that even the unexpected was reached. Ramana went street by street asking for jobs that paid well. None showed a green flag, but rather a red one. This should have been obvious to her because she was an illiterate, and most of these jobs required qualifications to obtain. The fact made her surrender, so she now aimed at jobs that required no qualification and experience, which she got. Working as a floor cleaner in a leading fashion company. Despite the fact that she was now earning 500,000 shillings a week, Ramana was still not contented of what she possessed. Observing the business women and men that wore expensive clothes, watches, shoes, wigs, and drove expensive cars made her crave more for the wealth and power. This young girl even started stealing the company's fixed assets, such as cleaning brooms, mops, and detergents, selling them to get extra money, thinking the practice will make her wealthier, far away from the trenches of poverty where she once was. Girls her age came to this company, doing research work for their university projects. Even them looked so good and money was not their problem. Whenever Ramana looked at herself in the mirror, she immediately turned back and thought she was not enough. No expensive wigs, watches, necklaces, or even a bicycle in my name, the poor girl said to herself each time she looked at herself in the mirror. The small fire that burned in Ramana's mind about getting wealth transformed into a wildfire, and she could not hold on to her current earning any longer. At this point, she had turned 22 years of age, that is 2 years in the city. This eager young lady had found a solution to end all her poverty. Aminata, her friend in town, had told her of a certain herbalist who could grant all she wished, but all the herbalist wanted in return was money. This Wednesday morning, Ramana dressed up well and decided to go see the herbalist, together with Aminata that guided her way. As they got there, both entered and sat on the brown mat, just in front of the temple regalia. "What brings you to me?" the herbalist asked the two. "I believe you are the answer to my queries, sir," Ramana told the herbalist in response. "And what is that?" he asked again. "I want wealth, power, fame, and unstoppable prosperity," replied Ramana to the man in front of both her and Aminata. Aminata stayed quiet as if none of her lips moved. The herbalist then asked if she had money amounting to 160,000 shillings, which she did. He then reached out to a small sack that lay on his left side from where he sat, got 3 cowrie shells from it, and then put them into her left arm, which she ordered her to hold clenched firmly. Ramana did as she was told, and after around a minute, she got instructed to return them, placing them in the herbalist's right palm. It seems a curse was laid on your ancestors, probably following all your work, and leading you into failure each time, the herbalist told Ramana, carefully looking at the shells. Obviously, the 3 cowrie shells handed to her were to help him know the cause of her failure, which she got to figure out. Then what should be done? Ramana asked the herbalist calmly. A sacrifice must be made. This is to break the curse on you and those after you entirely, this man replied, but in a lower tone now. What sacrifice is to be done? I'm ready for whatever you say, sir, replied eager Ramina to the man. Honestly, the look on her face said it all. She was so determined, not even for a single time did she dare turn back on this event that went on. You must bathe in an albino's blood, the man said softly. Aminata got startled, but to his surprise, Ramana only got to ask of the age of the albino she had to use, of which she was told, any age. Ramana, what are you thinking? Aminata asked her friend in a surprised manner. Nowadays, eyes are open, your future is in your hands. Stop waiting for destiny to reveal your wrath, Ramana replied to Aminata confidently. It seemed that the game of searching for an albino was on. They made another appointment, that on the 9th of October, which is the Independence Day, the ceremony to exorcise the curse was to be done. The 2 friends moved out of the place, but Aminata glancing at Ramana in a weird way. She honestly could not believe the fact that Ramana would do such a thing, just for wealth. It seemed she was just not aware of the eagerness that ran through her blood and soul. Aminata honestly refused to be a part of this hunt, which was fine to Ramana since she thought it would be easy to her, even though she was alone. Since it was just a week to the appointment day, Ramana did not go to work every single day of this week because she had to drag an albino for her ceremony. On the 3rd day of the hunt, Ramana got to encounter an albino young boy, around the age of 10, selling maize on the streets. She tamed him to stop, pretending to be in need of some maize. Hello, young boy, she said to the boy with a splendid smile on her face. Do you need some maize, madam? The boy responded in question to Ramana as he brought the basket that held the maize from his head to the ground. Oh yes, I do. How much is each? Replied Ramana. Each is just 500 shillings only, the boy responded calmly. Softly in her mind, Ramana said, One has finally made my day. She got cut out by the boy asking how many maize corns she needed. I need around 10 corns. But the money is at my apartment, close to this place. Do you mind going there with me? Ramana lied to the young boy, and because of the need of money, he decided to go over, knowing it was close. An evil smack struck her face as she celebrated in mind for having made it finally. As they got to the apartment, she entered and asked the boy to do the same, which he did. He had no idea on what the young woman had prepared next for him. As Ramana went to the bedroom pretending to bring the money, she returned both with the money and a handkerchief Kali phoned. She came close to the boy to hand him the money, and then held his nose and mouth using the handkerchief, causing him to get unconscious, and immediately packed him into a black suitcase that set off to the herbalist location. She arrived at sunset there and left him in custody, being watched by the herbalist, then set off back to her apartment. The feeling of relief ran through her mind all time until the day came. She was there even before sunrise so that the ceremony would be done early in the morning. The poor boy got slaughtered like a cow and the blood bathed by Ramana. That day, her life changed from grass to grace. She returned back to her apartment and found bundles of money laid on the floor. She opened up a big company that manufactured electronics such as phones, laptops, hot plates, fridges, and televisions. She bought expensive cars, phones, watches, wigs, shoes, expensive perfumes, and built a big mansion. In just a year, Ramana had gotten known in the whole of Kampala, and everyone admired her. They had no idea of what she went through to get all she possessed, thinking it was destiny and good luck. Only Aminata knew what had exactly happened, and she got threatened to be killed if she dared to tell a soul. Aminata, so obedient to Ramana, decided to die with the secret. As Ramana turned 26 years, she got married to a rich man and soon gave birth to a bouncing baby girl. They lived a very happy family, loved each other, and shared almost all secrets. One day, she decided to take lunch to her husband at his office where he worked. She got there early, a few minutes past noon, and entered straight into her husband's office. This was intended to be a surprise, since she rarely came to see him at work. "How has your day been, my husband?" she calmly asked him. "You have made it better, darling," he replied as they hugged each other. This was definitely the life Ramana dreamt of since her childhood, and enjoyed every bit of her luxurious lifestyle she created. She then handed lunch to her husband, waited until he was done with eating as they conversed funny stories, then headed back home. Nearly halfway the distance to home, she encountered traffic jam and had to wait for around 20 minutes there. Ramana decided to watch TikTok on her phone as she waited in the traffic. In a short while, someone knocked on her car, and on clear looking, it was the albino boy she had sacrificed approximately 6 years back. He closely looked her in the eyes, fearless, but his eyes filled with pain, anger, and vengeance. Ramana's heart skipped a bit by what she had seen. The boy was still in the same clothes he had died in, the same age, and holding the same basket that held the maize corn he sold. This was definitely not a dream because he even spoke to her saying, "I trusted you, and your payback was death." Ramana's eyes almost popped out as the car got too small to accommodate her. She started screaming for help, but those in the traffic jam thought she had mental illnesses since they could not find any reason of her screaming. She got taken to the hospital and she called her husband immediately. Reaching there, her husband then came in just 10 minutes later and asked Ramana what had happened. She honestly could not tell a soul of what exactly was the matter, but rather said she was seeing things. After interrogation at the hospital, she got back home with her husband, and her mind only thought of getting to the herbalist the following day so as to know what actually had gone wrong. But to her dismay, she was told that the man had died 3 years back and the temple was destroyed. The idea of consulting from Aminata crossed her mind, as she believed that Aminata could get a solution to the current state. She called her, but Aminata said she did not want anything to do with her evil self-being. Completely for once, Ramana felt alone in the world and decided to go back home. At home, she entered her room with her daughter, Aliyah, who was just a year old. She fell down and lost consciousness when she found the boy seated in her bedroom and asked if she wanted some maize corn as he held it in the basket. The baby cried so loud since it had fallen down and hurt itself. The baby cry caused her husband to go to the room, finding her laid down and the baby aside. He immediately called the mansion nurse and held the baby, tapping it to calm down. She then instantly woke up, even before the arrival of the mansion nurse, and screamed again, saying, "I'm so sorry, young boy." She could still see the boy even though the rest could not, and got shaky as she knelt down on her knees. Her husband, for a second, thought she was just out of her mind, but then noticed normality as she sobbed. To Ramana, the boy told her to confess everything and give him a proper burial, then tell his parents he loved them. This woman feared to get ashamed, and did not know how her husband would react after hearing the truth, so she decided to be a tough lady and ignore all the ghost did and spoke. For a whole week she lived like this, but on the 9th of October that year, she woke up preparing to go to work, when she suddenly started feeling a fire burning her up. It was so hot that even skin started peeling off. The boy's ghost appeared again and said, "Today is when everything ends. Confess, woman." The pain caused her to scream and could not take any more pain. These rumors spread like wildfire through the whole of Kampala and Kira village as well. Christmas really comes once a year, and it sure did for this woman due to her impatience and less contentedness. The ghost's wishes got granted, and Mrs. Ramana ended up a mad woman on the streets of Kampala, only acting as a testimony of fate's power and a sin's payment from God, learning never stops until one's last breath.